Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into how India's overflowing urban garbage dumps are actually hiding a multi-billion-dollar economic and climate opportunity. Every single day it feels like we're facing this escalating crisis with urban waste. But what if the solution to our pollution, our energy security, and even unemployment is literally just sitting right there in our trash bins?
To really get this, we have to start with the sheer scale of the problem. It's staggering. India currently produces about 1.71 lakh tons of municipal solid waste every single day. I mean, just try to visualize that for a second. That is a massive mountain of refuse generated daily by our rapidly growing cities. And it's a volume that is completely overwhelming municipalities across the country right now.
But here is where it gets really interesting. Exactly half of this massive daily output is purely organic waste. We're talking about your everyday things: kitchen scraps, vegetable peels, leftover food, flowers, horticulture waste. It's wet, it's heavy, and as we all know, it decomposes incredibly fast. But right now, we're severely lagging in how we handle all of this. Currently, only about 61% of total municipal waste actually gets treated. So what happens to the remaining 39%? Well, it overflows into landfills, it gets tossed into illegal dumps in urban drains, or it's just openly burned. And that's not just an eyesore, right? It's a massive urban governance crisis.
And the environmental toll of all that untreated waste is just devastating. Open burning of this unmanaged refuse contributes to nearly 10% of the dangerous PM 2.5 pollution in Indian cities. 10%. Plus, when that organic waste just sits and rots in landfills, it releases methane, which is a greenhouse gas way more potent than carbon dioxide in the short term. Actually, emissions from India's waste sector skyrocketed by a massive 226% between 1994 and 2020.
So let's talk about the $51 billion opportunity. There's this fantastic new study by the Council on Energy, Environment, and Water, or CEEW, and it maps out two very different futures. They essentially reframe this entire crisis into an enormous economic opportunity. If we do nothing, if we just stick to business as usual, waste sector emissions are going to balloon to nearly 120 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2047. But look at the accelerated policy scenario. If we actually collect and process our organic waste, we don't just stop the bleeding, we reverse it. We generate net emissions reductions of nearly 68 million tons. And the financial reward for choosing that accelerated path? It's absolutely huge. If India fully collects and processes this urban organic waste by 2047, it unlocks a market opportunity worth nearly $51 billion. In fact, in their most aggressive scenario, the researchers estimate that number could hit $62 billion. We are literally sitting on a gold mine of green revenue instead of just piles of garbage. Which brings us to turning that waste into fuel. So how exactly do we turn rotting vegetable peels and old flowers into billion-dollar markets and clean air? Well, the magic word here is biomethanation. Think of this process like modern alchemy. It takes that wet food scrap mixture and converts it into biogas and biomethane. Once you purify and compress that gas, boom, you've got bio-CNG. We're literally taking the exact thing that pollutes our cities when left in a dump and turning it into a clean transport fuel that can directly replace fossil fuels in our vehicles. How cool is that? The problem is our infrastructure is nowhere near ready for this kind of transition. India's organic waste treatment capacity is severely unbalanced right now. Composting absolutely dominates the space at 96%, while biomethanation, the process that actually gives us that incredibly valuable bio-CNG, lags way behind at just 4%. This balance desperately needs a shakeup if we want to hit India's net zero ambitions. Listen to this quote from Parthana Bora over at the CEEW because it hits the nail right on the head regarding the mindset shift we need from policymakers. She says, waste management is clean air infrastructure. We really have to stop viewing local waste processing plants as just basic sanitation utilities. Unmanaged waste creates year-round pollution challenges. It's not just seasonal smog. So proper waste management is absolutely as crucial as our power grids or our water treatment plants. Now, beyond the clean fuel, we're talking about creating millions of jobs. Solving the waste crisis is actually a massive job creator, which is a total game changer for the Indian workforce. Let's bring this down to the local level for a second. A single 100-ton-per-day biomethanation facility creates about 31 diverse jobs. And we aren't just talking about unskilled labor. These plants require technicians, plant operators, specialized chemists, logistics staff. A composting plant of the same scale employs around 28 workers. So every single hyperlocal facility built becomes its own localized job engine. When we zoom out and apply that facility-level data to the 2047 accelerated policy scenario, the numbers are just phenomenal. We're looking at a jump from roughly 4 lakh direct jobs in the waste sector today to a staggering 26 lakh direct green jobs by 2047. That is a massive new workforce spanning collection, processing, logistics, and energy generation.
Okay, so how do we actually get there?
Right now, execution and coordination are definitely the missing links. We know the destination, but the path is pretty blocked by poor implementation. But get this, the policy ecosystem is actually already there. The 2016 solid waste management rules already mandate the segregation of waste right at the source. They also require wet waste to be processed at the nearest local facility. CEW even points out that there are around 16 different ministries and government bodies involved in various programs. But despite all that, our cities are still really struggling with poor waste segregation and super unreliable data. To fix this massive disconnect, the CEW report recommends 5 really crucial steps. See, right now, municipalities often reward contractors based simply on the sheer quantity of waste they move, which basically just means mixed garbage gets picked up and dumped in a new location. We have to stop that cycle. We need to shift to performance-based contracts, drastically improve source segregation, actively update our waste data, train this huge new workforce, and build highly reliable markets to actually sell the compost and bio-CNG that we're producing.
Of course, building all this new clean air infrastructure isn't cheap. The study estimates this transition is going to attract around $24 billion in needed investments. To fund this, cities absolutely must step out of traditional municipal budgets and embrace innovative financing tools. We're talking about issuing green bonds, utilizing hybrid annuity models, and fostering really robust public-private partnerships to get these plants built and running smoothly. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to fundamentally challenge how you view your own daily footprint. That banana peel or leftover rice, it isn't just refuse destined to pollute a landfill. It's the key to cleaner air, 26 lakh new jobs, and a $51 billion green economy. Next time you throw away food scraps, ask yourself, are you throwing away garbage or are you throwing away the fuel of the future?